Good morning, grade 8s. Welcome back to this morning's lesson, but it will be a class test that you're going to write. But let's start as normal by greeting each other in the chat box, and then you guys will see there in the box I said that you must please have some pen and paper ready. So quickly get some if you don't have it in front of you. Right, people, before we're going to start with today's class test, there's first something that I need to talk to you guys about. The assessments of last week. I've started it off, some of it I have marked, and I have sent some of you maybe already the marks, but people, I stopped with the marking. I'm going to be honest with you guys, in most of the cases, it is quite a train smash with regarding the assessments. There are one or two or three people that is not doing bad at all, but unfortunately, most of you guys is struggling, not with the economics part, but with the accounting part. So, for example, with the accounting equation, then you put the amount there, but you don't put the little plus or the minus sign in front of it, okay? Then it's wrong. Immediately, the whole exercise is then wrong, or the whole question. So immediately you're going to lose about 10 to 20 marks, okay? Or what you guys do is you put the amount there, but then you didn't give a reason. So you didn't write the bank is decreasing or rent income is an income, for instance. Again, immediately, everything, the whole activity, the whole question is then wrong. Because how do the marks work? For the amount with the plus or the minus sign in front of it, with the reason, you must have everything there, and everything must be correct to get 1 mark. So when you're going to have something wrong, then everything is basically going to be wrong. Okay. So what we have decided to do is the following. Okay, because it's not going to help to continue marking if it's going on like that, and I don't want you guys to have a very bad mark as well. So the following has been decided. Remember, still on next week, you're going to write that one day from the school side, the test, okay? As I said, that is still going to count. That is still going to happen. That is going to be very short, very easy. It's not going to be that long activities. And then from the next week at Monday, we're going to start redoing the accounting, what we have done. Because people, you don't know how to do it. I'm sorry to say it. So we're going to do all the accounting things from the start again. And we're going to do it over and over and over, because that's the only way you're going to get used to it. Okay, so the journals, for instance, it doesn't matter if we sit the whole next week on it, okay, but we're going to take it, we're going to explain it again, we're going to do exercises every day, okay, so you're going to practice and practice and practice this over and over again. And then we're going to take then after that again a reassessment, and then we will see how it's going then. Okay, but I'm sure then it will go much better. All right, but if you have any questions about that, you are welcome to ask me that question, and I will answer it for you. But don't expect to get any marks for that assessments now any further. That's not going to happen, because we're going to retake the accounting first, and we're going to make sure that you know and understand this, and then we will do a reassessment on that. Right, for today, let's continue with the class test. As I've already said, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a few minutes, and then we're going to mark the class test, or you're going to mark your own test. Right, so there it is going to be. It's this slide and the next slide as well is part of the class test. So let's just quickly scan through the test. So number 1 is saying, mention the 3 economic sectors and a short description of each one. Number 2, what is the difference between savings and investment? Number 3, describe source documents. So just give a definition there for me. Number 4, they say redraw the receipt and complete the following transaction on the receipt. And the transaction is the owner invested capital in the business of 50,000 on the 3rd of March 2020. You write out the receipt. And then I've put there a receipt for you, so you can quickly and roughly just redraw the receipt that you see there, and then you take that transaction and you complete it on that receipt. Okay, let me just go on quickly and then I will come back to this slide. And then the next question will be what we've done yesterday. Complete the trial balance with the following information. And then I've given you a lot of accounts there with amounts, capital, vehicles, equipment, salaries, water and electricity, wages, rent income, services rendered, and telephone. And there is the format of the trial balance. So you're going to have 3 columns that you need to draw, one for accounts, and then you need to put the amounts in the correct column, debit or credit column. Right, so that is basically going to be the class test for today, but let's go back. So what I will do is I'm going to give you quite a few minutes first on this slide, and then I will give you quite a few minutes on the next slide, and then we will start marking it. I will check the whole time in the chat box if there's any questions. So right. I'm just saying again, I'm still on this side while you continue. It will be good to help me to indicate if you're done with this slide, to just tell me if you're done or not, or if you have any questions, you can put it in the box. Guys, I will still, let's say, give you about, let's say 3-4 minutes, okay, on this one. All right, it looks like if most of you are done, people. So I'm going to move to the next slide. If you're not done on this one, also just indicate it to me and then we will get back again. But for now, I'm just first going to move on to the next one. That will be about the trial balance, right? So there's your information. That will be question 5, and then you can draw up your trial balance. Right, I'm still here, so let's say another 3, at the most 4 minutes on this one. Right, you guys, I hope you're done. Okay, because I want to start to mark it. Is this, must I go back to the previous slide quickly? Or are you guys okay? If I go into the answers, the questions will also be there. Right, okay. As I said, I'm going to move on now to the answers. So you need to mark your own test. I will tell you how many marks it's going to count and all those things, right? Right, here's the first one. They say mention the 3 economic sectors and a short description of each one. So the 3 sectors are primary, secondary, and tertiary sectors. 1 mark each. So there you already have 3 marks. Okay, already 3 marks just for mentioning it. Right, and then you need to give a short description with each one. Now, with the primary sector, it's raw materials extracted, or you could have said something about natural resources, for example, water, food, air, etc. The secondary sector, it produces the raw materials into a final product in a fabric. If you have used example there of, let's say, the wool that they've taken from the sheep and they've made a jersey of it, for instance, then you can also give yourself a mark there. And the third, the tertiary sector, is where they distribute the products to wholesalers, shops, retails, etc. So, right, so King, the whole question will count 6 marks. 3 marks for just mentioning primary, secondary, and tertiary sectors, and with each one a short description, another 3 marks, so it's 6 in total. Then what is the difference between savings and investment? Okay, 1 mark each. Savings is when you set a certain amount away for future use. When you set a certain amount away for future use, that is savings. And investment is when you invest in something, like for instance, buying an asset or buying a vehicle, or buying equipment or a building, for instance. So again, it's 1 mark each. What is the difference between savings and investment? Savings is when you set a certain amount away for future use, you don't touch it. Investment is when you invest money in something like buying an asset, for instance. So there's another 2 marks there. Then the third question describes source documents. So you need to give me a definition for 2 marks. Okay, listen. A document like receipt, invoice, check, etc., indicating a business transaction, indicating the date, the amount, the name of the person, signature, etc. So if you have given me an example like receipt, invoice, check, or you have said something about it's a business transaction, then it is 1 mark. And the other mark I want for the information that is on the source document, like the date, signature, name of person, amount, etc. Right, so the whole definition, 2 marks. 1 mark either, for example, or to say it's a business transaction. Another mark if you indicate what type of information will be on that source document. So in total, 2 marks. Right, then the question 4 was that you need to redraw the receipt and complete the receipt with the following transaction. Let's first read the transaction. They say the owner invested capital in the business of 50,000 on the 3rd of March 2020. You write out the receipt. So it means you need to sign that receipt. Okay. Unfortunately, I cannot complete it on the receipt, so you guys need to listen now. Okay, especially regarding the marks. Where you see date, you should write in the date 3 March 2020, 1 mark there. 3 March 2020 for the date, 1 mark. Received from the owner, because you don't know who the owner is. I didn't give you a name. So with received from, you must write the owner for another mark. The sum of, and then in words, you need to write out 50,000 Rand. In words, 50,000 Rand, another mark. And then next to Rand and cents, in that other small type of column, you must write the amount in figures there, the 50,000. So the amount, 50,000 in figures for another mark. For what is it? It is for capital, another mark. For capital, another mark. And then with thanks, you write out the receipt. So it must be your signature. Your signature, another mark. So the whole receipt is going to count out of 6 marks. I'm going to repeat it again. So the date, 1 mark. Received from the owner, another mark. The sum of 50,000 Rand in words, another mark. Then you write the 50,000 in figures, another mark. For capital, another mark. And you need to sign it, another mark. So 6 marks in total for the receipt. All right. Now we are going to move now to the trial balance. Right. Now you can check there. Okay, the accounts I've listed there at the top, so that you just should rewrite capital, vehicles, equipment, salaries, water and electricity, wages, rent income, services rendered, and telephone. Okay, if we take capital, the 400,000, it must be in the credit column. Okay, think back of Lady Adelaide, the C for capital, always on the credit side. Vehicles, 200,000 in the debit column. Why? Because vehicles is an asset. An asset is always on the debit side. Equipment, 250,000 in the debit column. Okay, again, equipment is also an asset, therefore also on the debit side. Salaries, 8,000 Rand, debit side. Why? We need to pay the salaries. Salaries is an expense. Expense is always on the debit side. The same with water and electricity, 2,000 Rand, debit column, because water and electricity is an expense. Expenses must be on the debit side. And so also the same with wages, 2,000 Rand, debit side, because wages is an expense. Rent income must be on the credit side, the 8,000 Rand. Why? Because rent income is an income, and income is always on the credit side. Oh, let's see. I see something. Let's see if you guys can see it. I see there was something in the chat box. Yeah, you actually right, Musa. I also see it now. Sorry, my mistake. I've typed it in the wrong column. The next one, guys, services rendered, the 50,000. Oh no, at the top it was 60,000. Oh gosh, what was happening with me? Okay, right. Sorry, guys. Services rendered. Use the 60,000 Rand at the top. Okay, and then it must be in the credit column, guys. Okay, credit column, please. Why? Because services rendered is an income, and income must always be on the credit side. And then telephone, 6,000 Rand. All right, telephone must be on the debit side. Why? Because telephone is an expense. Expenses is always on the debit side. So please remember now about services rendered. Okay, don't look what you see there. Services rendered, 60,000 Rand, credit side. Okay, because it's an income. Sorry, Lesedi, it was really my mistake there. I think I have done this quite late in the evening. All right. Okay, let's see for the trial balance how many marks. So if you have write the name of the account and the amount in the correct column, then it's 1 mark. So the whole capital line must be correct for 1 mark. The whole vehicles line must be correct for 1 mark. So then it means it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 marks in total for the trial balance. All right, and then you should, if you add it up, then you should get a total for out of 25 for your class test. A total out of 25 for your class test. So let me just stick on this slide, then you can just finish marking, add up your total, see how you have done. If there's any questions about this class test, you're more than welcome to ask. Okay, somebody's asking, I must go to the previous or the first slide. So I think because this was actually also part of the first slide, here you just have the questions and the answers. So I'm going to stick on this one. Right, people, that will then be it for today. Doesn't look that you have any questions. All right. So if you finished marking and you've got your mark out of 25, then we're done for today. Then, as I said, remember, guys, now, don't worry, don't stress now about those assessments, okay? We are going to take it again from Monday, and then we're going to work hard on that, all right? Okay, people, thank you very much. Then that will be it for today. All right, let me just show you, and then I will see you guys then on Monday again. Have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.